something that just scares you to your core, something that, I don't know, sends a chill up your spine.
Any a huge emotional reaction and reluctance to do something that you don't think you can do. It scares you.
Fear is when there's something that you don't want to do or don't like and you want to get away from it.
I think fear is something that everybody believes that scares them. For everybody, it's different. For some people, it's like horror movies. Some people, it might be the dark. It doesn't really matter what it is. I just think fear is something out there that always makes you think what might happen if this goes bad.
I guess it's a feeling where you don't really understand something, so therefore you're kind of afraid of it.
A false premise that people create to get other people to be controlled.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, I think that fear is something that we are taught in order for someone else to so you can be controlled. In other words, I don't think fear exists.
Spiders.
Something you're afraid of, I guess. Something that you are scared of.
Fear is something that, like, something awful is going to happen, but it hasn't happened, but there's always the threat of it happening.
You know, most people are afraid of them. Like, I literally cannot kill a spider for my life. I, like, throw stuff at it from, like, a mile away, but I will not kill it. They just gross me out so much.
Ooh, I hate spiders.
Alright, do you have any fears?
No.
Really? So if I pulled out...
Okay, being alone.
I have a fear of heights, but it doesn't stop me from doing stuff. So if we're like on the top of the Empire State Building, I can get there and I can look over, but it really scares me. And I also have a fear of the falling sensation. So, yeah, so I can do roller coasters, but I don't super enjoy it. I can't do those rides that make you just drop, that kind of stuff. I can't do that.
This is really stupid, but I've had this thing with spiders and like anything that's creepy crawly. Like I remember, I don't know why I'm afraid of spiders, because there's literally videos of me when I was little, like playing with spiders, like when I was a little kid, like 2.
The dark.
I mean, I feel it can come from like certain like different things, like different like people. Like people can make people feel like other people like feel afraid, or like people have like certain fears, like flying or other things like that.
I believe it comes mainly from like the dark side of your brain. It might be that one part that's always bad. It's thinking, what if this happens? Then what will happen to me?
I think you adapt what your fear from your early childhood to like something significant that happened to you.
Oh, I think it can come from lots of different places. The way you were raised. If your parents had fears of certain things, you might carry that into your life. If you've had a bad experience, you learn to be fearful of something that's similar or of repeating that experience. And sometimes I think it's just innate. You're just, for some reason, born with a fear of spiders or something.
Actually, I remember the day I became afraid of spiders. I was sitting in my bed, and I remember looking over and seeing a spider right next to me, and I didn't like the fact that there was something like creepy crawly like on my bed that I hadn't known about before. I didn't like that, so ever since then I've been kind of weird with spiders.
Past because my dad put me in my basement one time and scared me, so since then I've been afraid of the dark.
They have 8 legs. That's abnormal.
I don't want to become like a lunatic, like crazy old lonely cat lady, but a male version of that.
Do you think you would ever overcome your fear of spiders?
No, unless they only grow 2 legs.
Yes, if you're around it enough, you could. If you're around something enough, you could get used to it.
So it's like if you understand something more, you're not as afraid.
Yeah, if you're open up to a different perspective of something.
Oh, totally. Totally, with practice and just making yourself do the things that you don't like to do. I mean, I'm sure there's some things that you can't ever overcome, but I think you can live with your fears totally.
I don't know if I'd want to get over those fears though. Is that
Why?
Because I kind of feel like I need that fear. You know, like I should be.
Like it protects you?
Yeah, like it protects me a little bit. Like if I didn't have that fear, and if I just like stood on the side of the Grand Canyon, like really, really close, like I don't know, I feel like I could die.
It's like a necessity.
It's almost like it's saving me.
The adrenaline rush, the thought that could be them, but they know it will never be.
All right.
The jumping, the cuddling, the blankets.
I love scary movies.
Why do you like scary movies?
They're a very good adrenaline rush. There's always a possibility that it could happen to me.
All right.
Like a scary guy coming at me with a knife is entirely possible.
It's like any movie where you can visibly see someone like mentally deteriorate. It's disturbing. It really is. Which that goes to show how psychological fear really is.
Kind of seeing your fears like real, but like portrayed in like a movie setting is like kind of interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of disappointing other people, or say like your parents or like your teachers. Like I feel like some people put a lot of pressure on themselves, and they have that fear that they're not gonna like pull through on certain commitments. Or like for me, like I have a hard time like saying yes, I'll do this, just because I don't know if I'm actually gonna do that, and it's like really important to me that I like follow through on my word. And so like for me, like that can be a little bit of a fear. Or like if you think about like the seminar or the presentation about Uganda, like those children, their fears are like so much bigger than ours. Like they have to worry about their life all the time, and I feel like it just depends on your circumstances, what your fears are. And yeah,
Having children, you lose simple fears that you had as a child, because you now are in a more responsible role, and you're the adult, you're the parent. You can't have these fears. You have to be able to sleep in your house at night, you know, and not worry about the boogeyman and things like that. It's just a different role you take on and mature.
And it's, I think, too, the people that are around you. If that's what you're used to hearing, then it becomes a behavior.
Exactly.
And then when you learn for yourself later that it's kind of I always think of it sort of as a false premise, like you didn't really need to worry about that, but they worried about it, and it's valid for them, but it's not valid for me. Like if you're afraid of something, I wouldn't say that you shouldn't be afraid of it. If that's what you're afraid of, that's what you're afraid of. I don't try to. It's a false premise for me, but it's not a false premise for somebody else, because that's none of my business.
Right.
Fear is from the brain. Something you don't understand. Okay, bye.